They say trust is built slowly, brick by brick. But it only takes one secret to bring it all crashing down. It started with a charger. She always kept hers in the kitchen drawer, but that night, it was gone. She asked if I'd seen it, voice a little too casual, eyes a little too quick to look away. I checked the living room, then the bedroom, and that's when I saw it, a black phone, face down, wedged between the couch cushions. But it wasn't her phone. Her real one, the one with the cracked screen she always complained about, was sitting on the coffee table, charging just fine. This one was different. Newer. Sleek. Clean. And completely unknown to me. I picked it up. My heart didn't race. Not yet. I wasn't suspicious. Not really. Not until the lock screen lit up with a message. You alone tonight? That's when my stomach turned to ice. I stared at the screen, waiting for it to make sense. For context. For some innocent explanation that would tie this all back to reality. To the woman I kissed goodbye every morning. The woman who wore my ring. Slept in my arms. But none came. Just another message. Can't stop thinking about yesterday. No name. Just a number. The room got quiet. Not in the peaceful way, in the pressure drop before a storm kind of way. I sat down, phone in hand, mind spinning. There are moments when your body goes still, but your thoughts sprint like animals in a burning field. This was one of them. I didn't open the phone. Not yet. I put it back, right where I found it. Sat there for an hour pretending to scroll through my emails while she moved around the house, humming to herself, folding laundry, completely unaware that my world had just cracked open under my feet. I kept watching her like a stranger might. Noticing everything now, how she kept her real phone face up, how she checked it too often, how she smiled when she thought no one was looking. And that night, I waited until she fell asleep. The secret phone sat on her nightstand this time. As if it belonged there. As if it had always been there, and I'd just never seen it. I picked it up. And unlocked it. Cliffhanger. What I found wasn't just betrayal. It was a second life. And I hadn't been part of it for a long, long time. They say trust is built slowly. Brick by brick. But it only takes one secret to bring it all crashing down. It started with a charger. She always kept hers in the kitchen drawer, but that night, it was gone. She asked if I'd seen it, voice a little too casual, eyes a little too quick to look away. I checked the living room, then the bedroom, and that's when I saw it, a black phone, face down, wedged between the couch cushions. But it wasn't her phone. Her real one, the one with the cracked screen she always complained about, was sitting on the coffee table, charging just fine. This one was different. Newer. Sleek. Clean. And completely unknown to me. I picked it up. My heart didn't race. Not yet. I wasn't suspicious. Not really. Not until the lock screen lit up with a message. You alone tonight? That's when my stomach turned to ice. I stared at the screen, waiting for it to make sense. For context. For some innocent explanation that would tie this all back to reality. To the woman I kissed goodbye every morning. The woman who wore my ring. Slept in my arms. But none came. Just another message. Can't stop thinking about yesterday. No name. Just a number. The room got quiet. Not in the peaceful way, in the pressure drop before a storm kind of way. I sat down, phone in hand, mind spinning. There are moments when your body goes still, but your thoughts sprint like animals in a burning field. This was one of them. I didn't open the phone. Not yet. I put it back, right where I found it. Sat there for an hour pretending to scroll through my emails while she moved around the house, humming to herself, folding laundry, completely unaware that my world had just cracked open under my feet. I kept watching her like a stranger might. Noticing everything now, how she kept her real phone face up, how she checked it too often, how she smiled when she thought no one was looking. And that night, I waited until she fell asleep. The secret phone sat on her nightstand this time. As if it belonged there. As if it had always been there, and I'd just never seen it. I picked it up and unlocked it. What I found wasn't just betrayal. It was a second life. And I hadn't been part of it for a long, long time. The password was her father's birthday. She used it for everything: Netflix, voicemail, even our garage door keypad. That small, lazy detail shattered me more than I expected. She hadn't even bothered to hide it from me. Because deep down, she didn't think I'd ever look. The screen unlocked in one silent blink. The wallpaper hit me first. A photo of her I'd never seen before, leaning against a car I didn't recognize, wearing a dress I'd never bought her. She looked different. Lighter. Younger. Like someone I hadn't met yet. And next to her, cropped mostly out, but not completely, was a man's arm. Tanned. Muscular. Watch on the wrist. A gold one. I opened her messages. There weren't dozens. There were hundreds. All from the same number. No name. Just a thread of conversations that reached back months. And the content. She didn't talk to him like she talked to me. Her tone was sharp, playful, alive in a way I hadn't heard in years. Jokes. Plans. Secrets. Photos, some taken in our house when I wasn't home. At our dinner table. In our backyard. And then I saw it. Don't worry, he has no idea. He still thinks I'm just tired from work. There it was. Confirmation. But it wasn't just the cheating. It was the narrative. The way she made me sound. Small. Clueless. Convenient. She had turned me into the background character in her real story. The worst part? She talked about me like I was a chore. Like I was a child she had to lie to, feed, and tolerate. Like I was a burden. And in the middle of that hellish spiral, I tapped open her photo gallery. I found a folder named Every Day. My stomach knotted before I even touched it. Inside were pictures of them together. Parking lots. Restaurants. Hotel rooms. Smiling selfies, half obscured, but still unmistakably him. And then, a photo that knocked the air from my lungs. The two of them standing in my workshop. Him wearing my jacket. Her holding a bottle of the bourbon I'd been saving for my 50th. They had toasted to something. I could see it in their eyes. Cliffhanger. At the bottom of the message thread, I saw something worse than all the rest. A countdown. 1 more week. She wrote. Then we tell him everything. 1 more week. That sentence looped in my head like a ticking clock. Tell him everything. So they were planning to come clean? That was supposed to soften the knife? I dropped the phone onto the table like it burned. But something didn't add up. If she was planning to confess, why hide the phone at all? I went back in. Deeper this time. Not rage-driven, surgical. I searched every folder, every message, every name I didn't recognize. Then I found notes. A long list, innocuous at first. Grocery items. Book titles. But halfway down, one caught my eye. Plan B, July 7th, apartment lease. Keys from D. My heart slowed. Everything around me dimmed. She had already planned her exit. Not just a confession, a replacement. She wasn't coming to explain or ask forgiveness. She was leaving. Then I found a voice memo. Just over a minute long. Recorded 3 days ago. I hesitated. Then hit play. Her voice came through, low and hushed. Okay, if you're hearing this, it means I couldn't go through with it. Or maybe I did, and I'm just making sure there's a trail. Either way, I need this said somewhere. Pause. Deep breath. I never meant to fall for him. It started as something else. Just space. Something outside. I didn't realize how far it would go. But the thing is, it's not what he thinks either. D isn't just some fling. He's... Another pause. He's my husband too. I stopped breathing. I rewound. Played it again. He's my husband too. The room spun. The couch under me felt like it was drifting out to sea. She was married. To both of us. I checked the calendar app. Synced to her email. There it was. Anniversary dinner, August 4th. 1 week before our anniversary. She had 2 lives. 2 men. 2 marriages. I wasn't just the betrayed man in a love triangle. I was the other husband. And in that moment, I realized something even worse. She didn't plan to confess to me. She was planning to confess to him. About me. I didn't sleep. Not even for a second. I sat in that chair until the first light of morning cracked through the blinds and spilled across the floor like a verdict. Her phone sat on the coffee table. Quiet now. Innocent looking. Like it hadn't just detonated my entire world. She stirred in the bedroom, still wrapped in my sheets, still wearing the ring I gave her. I watched the door, waiting to feel something clear, rage, panic, resolve, but all I felt was weight. The kind that wraps around your chest and doesn't let go. The kind that makes you ask what was real, and come up empty. I kept replaying the voice memo. Not the words. The tone. She didn't sound guilty. She sounded trapped. And that broke me in a way nothing else had. Because all this time, I thought I was the one holding things together. I thought I was the man she needed. The quiet anchor. The steady hand. The one who made sure the bills were paid, the lights stayed on, the life stayed intact. But now I saw it for what it was. I was her backup plan. Her emergency exit. The calm she retreated to when the fire in her other life burned too hot. And the worst part? I accepted it. I enabled it. Because I was terrified of losing her. There were signs, of course there were. The late returns. The sudden weekends with her sister that didn't line up. The way she'd sometimes stare through me during dinner like she was watching a movie I wasn't part of. But I ignored them. Because it was easier to be a fool with hope than a man with truth. She came into the kitchen around 7. Same routine. Same sleep-tousled hair. Same half-smile when she saw me, like we were just 2 people starting another day. She poured coffee. Sipped. Looked out the window. And in that moment I saw everything I'd missed. The distance in her eyes wasn't temporary. It was permanent. She'd been gone a long time. Her body was here, but her life, her real life, was somewhere else entirely. And I realized something that hollowed me out to the bone. I had loved her more than she ever existed. Because the version of her I loved never truly belonged to me. Then she turned to me and said, "I need to tell you something tonight. After work." I nodded. But inside I already knew. She wasn't coming home. The day moved like glass shattering in slow motion. She left for work at 8:05. Kissed me on the cheek. Said she'd be home by 7. Wore the blue coat she always picked when she wanted to look professional. Sharp. Controlled. I watched her drive off with a kind of stillness I'd never known before. Not peace, not numbness, just finality. I didn't go to work. I sat in the living room surrounded by years of our life. Wedding photos. Souvenirs from places we once swore we'd go back to. The couch where she'd fall asleep on my shoulder during old movies. All of it still, intact and utterly false. Around noon, I did what I promised myself I wouldn't. I drove to the address listed next to her anniversary reminder. The one marked D. Private. A condo building across town, newer than ours. Sleek. Cold. Like it was made for people who had something to hide. I didn't go in. I waited. At 6:42 p.m., she arrived. Not alone. She stepped out of a ride share. He followed, tall, confident, that same gold watch glinting under the streetlight. He touched the small of her back. She didn't flinch. They laughed as they walked inside. She never saw me. I drove home in silence, gripping the steering wheel so tightly it left marks on my palms. I didn't blast the radio or scream at the windshield. I just let it burn inside me. At 7:18 p.m., the front door opened. She walked in like it was any other evening. Jacket in hand. Keys dropped in the bowl. Then she froze when she saw me sitting there, not angry, not broken, just waiting. Her mouth opened, But I spoke first. You saw him today. Her whole body stiffened. A flicker of panic. Then she exhaled and gave me a look I'll never forget. Not fear. Not guilt. Relief. Like she'd been holding her breath for months and could finally let go. Yes, she said. I was going to tell you. Tonight. That's what I came home for. Then she pulled a folded piece of paper from her coat pocket. Placed it gently on the table between us. A single sheet. Her handwriting. No tears. No drama. Just one sentence that tore the floor out from under me. I filed for annulment 6 months ago. I just never submitted it. I'm submitting it now. She had written her goodbye before I ever found the phone. All this time, I hadn't even been part of the decision. Then she whispered the words that crushed whatever was left. You were never supposed to find out this way. I was just trying to protect you. And that's when I finally snapped. Protect me? That phrase echoed like an insult I wasn't meant to hear. I stared at her, blinking slowly, like my body was trying to delay the moment my mind caught up. Protect me from what? The truth? The choice? The humiliation? She stood there, calm, composed. Like a surgeon who'd already washed her hands of the patient bleeding out on the table. That's when something in me died. Not loudly. No yelling. No smashing plates. Just a sharp, internal collapse, quiet and permanent. I stood up. And she took a step back. You already buried us, I said. And now you want credit for not throwing dirt in my eyes while you did it. She looked down. No defense. No tears. Just quiet acceptance. Like she'd prepared for this. Rehearsed it in her mind so many times, she'd run out of emotion for the real version. I walked past her to the bedroom. Pulled open drawers. Took out a duffel bag I hadn't touched in years. The one I used to pack for weekend fishing trips. Now it felt like I was packing for war. Shirts. Papers. My watch. The deed. The file with our joint account info. My name on everything, because I built it all. Alone, apparently. She followed me to the hallway. Where are you going? I turned. Slowly. Met her eyes with a clarity I hadn't felt in weeks. To become a man who doesn't beg to be loved. She flinched like I'd hit her. I didn't wait for a reply. The silence between us said everything. There was nothing left to discuss. I wasn't walking out of our home, I was walking out of a performance. One I didn't realize I'd been cast in. A role I played faithfully while she rewrote the script behind my back. In the car, my hands didn't shake. My chest didn't tighten. What I felt wasn't pain anymore. It was purpose. That night, I booked a motel room 2 towns over. Cracked open a beer I didn't want. Sat at the edge of the bed and stared at the wall like it owed me something. I checked my phone. No texts. No calls. She had already moved on, probably stepped back into that condo, into that other life, with the other man who knew her in ways I wasn't allowed to. But it didn't matter now. Because something had shifted. I didn't want her back. I didn't want answers. I didn't even want revenge. I just wanted myself again. And just as I started to breathe in that truth, my phone lit up. Not from her. From him. We need to talk. She hasn't told you everything. I stared at the message for a long time. Just 5 words. Calm. Direct. We need to talk. She hasn't told you everything. From a number I didn't recognize, but I knew who it was. D. The man with the gold watch. The man who touched her like I no longer could. The man who apparently shared more with her than I ever did. I should have ignored it. Should have deleted it and let silence be the final word. But I couldn't. Because deep down, under the ash and bitterness, I still wanted to know just how deep the lie went. I replied. Where and when? 10 minutes later, I was sitting in the corner booth of a dim bar just outside city limits, the kind of place where secrets go to breathe. The air smelled like old wood and regret. Perfect. He walked in at exactly 9 o'clock. No hesitation. No smirk. Just a man with purpose in his stride. He sat across from me like we were old colleagues about to settle a deal. No small talk. She lied to both of us, he said. I didn't flinch. Go on. He pulled out his phone and placed it on the table. One tap, and a gallery of photos appeared. Dates, timestamps, locations. They went back 3 years. Not 1. Not 6 months. 3 years. My chest hollowed out. I didn't know about you at first, he said. She told me she was separated. Said you were out of the picture. Said it was complicated. I stared at the images. Some of them overlapped with vacations we took. With birthdays. Anniversaries. Moments that now felt counterfeit. She played us both. I muttered. Like chess pieces? He nodded. Took a long drink. Then said the one thing that turned my blood cold. She told me she was pregnant. I froze. She told me the baby was mine. Then yours. Then, no one's. I leaned back, head pounding. I didn't even know she was pregnant. She never said a word. There is no baby, is there? He shook his head. No. She lied. She lied because she was trying to keep me. Same way she kept you. She doesn't know how to end anything, just how to juggle it until it all falls apart. Silence stretched between us like barbed wire. So why are you here? I asked. He looked me dead in the eye. Because I left her. For good. And I thought you deserved to know the truth from someone who lived it too. She's not yours. She was never mine. She's only ever belonged to the lie. I didn't speak. Just stood, phone in hand, heart numb. The truth wasn't a blade, it was a flood. And I was done drowning. I walked out of that bar into the cold night air. And found her waiting by my car. Tears in her eyes. I can explain, she said. But this time, I wasn't listening. She stood by my car, coat pulled tight, eyes already full of the performance she thought would still work on me. I can explain. I didn't answer. Not out of anger. Not because I wanted her to suffer. But because I was done lending my ears to someone who only ever used them to sharpen her lies. She stepped closer. Please. Just listen. It wasn't supposed to. I raised a hand. Calm. Final. You don't get to shape the ending anymore. Her mouth closed, but her eyes begged. She reached into her bag and pulled out a crumpled envelope. The same handwriting as the first letter. I didn't take it. Let her carry it. Let her feel that weight for once. Was any of it real? I asked. She hesitated. That beat of silence was louder than any confession. I don't know, she said, barely audible. And that was it. That one sentence, soft, broken, almost honest, held everything I needed to hear. She didn't fight. She didn't chase me. She knew it was over. I got in the car, closed the door, and drove. Not fast. Not recklessly. Just forward. I didn't look in the rearview mirror. I didn't check if she was crying, or standing there hoping I'd turn around. That chapter was finished. What she broke can't be rebuilt. What I gave, she buried. But here's what's left. The quiet. The cold. The freedom. I didn't find closure. I didn't find justice. But I found truth. And that will have to be enough. Drop your thoughts in the comments, I read them all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to help this video reach more viewers. See you in the next one.